This year, fall cleaning is totally a thing. Welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna, and if you are new here, we're a homeschooling family of 4. We're in our 8th year of homeschooling, and we come here and we share all kinds of things along our homeschool journey. Today, I just want to chat with you a little bit, just break down a little bit of a life update, how I am October ready, I'm super fall ready, so just a little jump into the new month and the new season. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I am so incredibly excited for the turn of the seasons. One, it is still so hot here. It is still knocking on 100 degrees from the time of me filming this, and I am really, for probably maybe the first time ever, exceptionally looking forward to putting the entire summer season behind us. It's been wild. There's been a lot of upheaval, and we have so many fun and amazing things coming up for the fall season. Looking forward to just really feeling settled and centered again, because our summer was a little crazy. And I wanted to come in here and I wanted to share with you just a little bit of a life update, but I've structured it in kind of the ways that I am reframing my mindset a bit, and it is in making simple changes. And I've broken this down into kind of 5 broad categories for which I am making simple changes so that I am just ready for what's ahead. So let's start with the first one. As a family, we've been working really hard to prioritize the things that are truly serving us in this season of life, and it is allowing for a lot of things to kind of naturally fall away, which I think is really good. So we are tackling a few ways of making simple changes in our home. We're thinning things out, we're reprioritizing what matters, and these are just 5 areas and what I'm doing to really focus on simple changes that are going to serve us well going forward into a whole new season. Number 1 is health, and the things that I am doing for my health is I'm making sure that I am getting in the right vitamins. I recently had what for a bit I honestly thought could have been a broken foot. It was swollen, tender to the touch, things like that. Well, you know, now that it's Shanna 4.0, I went to the doctor, and turns out it's just incredibly tight calf muscles that are pulling on a ligament in my foot. So I have incorporated daily stretching into my routine. So I'm starting to really feel the benefits of that. I'm making sure that I am prioritizing my sleep. I feel like every time we have a conversation, I talk about it. I am a different person if I get a solid night of sleep, and honestly, it is the person that I want to be. I feel good, I'm super productive, lots of things have happened by the morning time. So for me, sleep and making sure that I'm getting great sleep is so incredibly important. But it is also a consistent struggle. And some of the things that really are barriers to that, limiting alcohol consumption, which I've gone through seasons of doing and not doing, but really making sure that I am intentionally, I'm intentional with when I'm consuming alcohol, because it does impact my quality of sleep. So these are just a few of the things that I'm doing for my health to make sure that I am making those little changes, simple things that are giving me really big impact on the backside. 2 more things that I've done as far as health is concerned is I've gotten into deep into my sourdough journey. So I have been making our own bread. I'm making a sourdough sandwich bread. Everybody in the house loves it. It is a little bit healthier. It definitely makes me happier. I just like it. I like the flavor. I like the texture. It makes me really happy. And I'm prioritizing my protein intake. So protein and water, making sure that I am getting the right amount of grams and the right amount of ounces to make sure that I am feeling and operating my best. Because anymore, it's not like I just feel a little out of whack. I feel really not great if I'm not getting sleep and fluids the way that I need to. So it is increasingly important, especially as I'm aging, to make sure that I am balancing those real and true, needs of my body. So that is something that is really important to me. Number 2 way that I am making changes is scheduling. So something that the hubs and I have started doing now that the kids are a little older, now that our lives have quieted down a bit, we are scheduling, intentionally scheduling more date nights, like a weekly date night. Now, it's not always like dinner out or a big thing, but it is time for intentional connection. And we're working really hard to make sure that it is not entirely administrative with like, did you know, here's the schedule, things like that. So making sure that we are prioritizing our time together and scheduling that in. We are also making sure that our schedule for each member of our family, as well as our whole family, is not getting to a place that is beyond, one, our control, or two, what we truly want out of the time that we are spending. And I think it's really easy, especially with kids' extracurriculars, to fall into this habit of feeling like you need to do more and more and more and more. And before you know it, you've gone a whole year without getting enough of what you truly want, which is that time with those people that you live with. And I think it's easy, way too easy to let that slip away. And so we are prioritizing that and making a point that we are truly enjoying that time together. Something else, and I've said this a little bit in the past and I'm leaning toward doing it, so we're gonna see, is I always say that it's not my job, but I'm thinking about restructuring my personal schedule in a manner where I work it like it is a full-time job. So I slot in all the things that I have to do between certain hours, and when those hours are done, I am done. So I'm gonna let you know, I'll probably be back to share on that a little bit, but just a little new way of thinking, a little new framework for myself to operate within. Something else that we have done this year is I have tried to stack what we're doing out of the house. So for example, going from voice and piano to fencing to ninja. So basically planning a day where it is almost entirely out of the house. We're packing for it, but by doing that, it's making it a little bit easier. Instead of having to constantly shift gears, it's giving us whole days at home, but also kind of only forcing us to leave home one time because we're just doing the things while we're already out, which so far is working very, very nicely. So I am happy to report that that is awesome. And when it comes to scheduling, something else that is really important is not letting those things you don't really want to do fill in those little pockets of time. So I am trying very hard, and we all are, to adhere to the, if it is not a resounding yes, then it's a no. My husband and I are especially guilty of, it's a fun idea, we really want to do it, but when it comes down to it, the work and the effort that needs to go into making it happen almost negates the fun and enjoyment you would get from doing it. So we are trying every day, all the time, to be better about just saying no. Number 3 of my simple changes that we are implementing here in our home. Now this one is about professionally. I am working really hard to be working smarter and not harder. So repurposing content I've already made, streamlining my websites. I really want to kind of restructure my newsletters. I am working hard to think about the content that I share here and a few buckets to give myself some direction, because if you guys have kids or if you've ever done this, when everything is an option, it is hard to decide, and it can be really hard to figure out what should come next, what order makes sense. So by giving myself a little bit of framework, just a little bit of structure, it's helping me really kind of narrow down what I want to be talking about, how I want to be sharing it, and it is helping me a great deal. Not necessarily that I am doing less, but just that I am doing better with the time that I am giving it. So I am working, the week before to go ahead and get all of my videos ready at one time. So inserting those timestamps and doing the tags and the titles and all of that, just doing it when I sit down one time instead of having to do that several times. And it is making it a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable for myself and my brain. So thinking wisely, making the right decisions, paring down where it is needed, but also branching out and doing a little more, because now I've got a little bit more of that focus and energy to devote to some of those things that I do want to change, that I do want to improve, that I do want to grow on. And so it is really important for me professionally to be making those simple changes. Now, number 4 is simple changes in our home. What are we doing? We are clearing out. We are decluttering. We are making changes. For me, I'm working now every day. We're making sure to have our home 100% reset, both before we go to bed, but also before we leave to go anywhere, making sure that everything is done the way it needs to. Something else that we've started doing is tandem cleaning. Now, this has been really fun as we did go over our house, give everything a huge once over, and we all get in one room and we do clean that room top to bottom. I'm talking baseboards, magic erasering scuffs on the wall, things like that, really getting rid of that visual stimulation, taking it down, really mellowing everything out, which you'll probably see this blue go pretty soon because, well, it's just time, but making sure that we are wiping up all the fingerprints and dusting all the things. And by working together in tandem, it really is, like Mary Poppins says, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It's been so much more enjoyable and so much more fun. And it just doesn't feel overwhelming. Nobody's segregated to their own spaces, tackling these big projects on their own. It's just fun. But a benefit of this is it is also allowing my children to get better in their cleaning skills because we're with them. So we're showing them the right way to dust. We're showing them the right way to, vacuum up the corners or to get the vacuum lines right. So these are little things that are having a really big impact, but they are simple changes to implement. And we, so far, are absolutely loving it. Now, of course, it's on top of our regular chores, but if as a family, we take 1 hour a week to really tackle a big project or a big cleaning or a big clear out together, huge returns. The fifth and last way that I am implementing simple changes has been in our homeschool. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about remembering that we have flexibility, which this year is serving us. We have a hard and fast deadline on Thursday afternoons, and historically we have sat in excessive traffic to make that happen. Well, it dawned on me, we don't have to school in the morning and then sit in traffic in the afternoon. What if we drove out there in the afternoon, sat up at a library, sat up at a coffee shop, and just did our schoolwork there, and then we would cut down on all of that traffic time. So just remembering, again, simple changes that we can be flexible and really have our time and our energy work in our favor has been a big deal. Making the switch from Matthew C. Principles of Secondary Mathematics Algebra 1 to Denison Algebra 1. Simple change, huge returns. Okay, absolutely huge returns for us. I just want to remind you that with a few simple changes, you too can get really big impacts out of the efforts that you're making. So for me, this has been making an absolutely huge deal. So it's a little bit of a life update, but also a little bit of excitement, a little bit of the things that I want to remind myself, those simple changes to take through into the fall and see where those little bitty tweaks can have massive returns for me. So I am excited. I will be back to share. I'm sure I will be updating you on how it is going for our schedule, for our home, for our homeschool, for me professionally, and for my health. So guys, as always, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for taking this time to check in with me, to let me share with you what I'm going through, how I'm feeling, what's going on. As always, guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. And if you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I do have a question. I have a question for you. So give me your feedback because I really want to know, because I don't know what to do with this. And part of it is that I have spent money. So very many years ago, I really wanted an embroidery machine. I was sewing a lot. I was convinced I was going to use it all the time. And I don't, but I have a 4 needle. If I remember, I'll try to insert a picture. So here's the deal. I don't use it a lot, but like ideal Shanna uses it a lot, right? Like the idea of me, the person I want to be, uses it a lot, but I don't. So do I cut my losses, cut the investment, sell it, get rid of it, or do I just hope that at some point I do it? Because it takes up a lot of space. It takes up a lot of room. When I see it, I think about all the things I'm not doing with it. So give me your input. I genuinely would love to know, what do you think I should do? Because I'm torn. I'm really torn. I'm leaning towards selling and getting rid of it, but I would love to hear some feedback, because I'm sure that most of you out there have done that, right? You've invested because you're going to do a thing and then you just didn't. But I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this. So share with me, what should I do with the embroidery machine? Bye, guys.